Cameron Carr went from, I think I just want to leave, to I know where I want to go. And that's to Baylor. Okay. He leaves in the middle of the season. He went through the entire preseason. He went through the entire non-conference season up until about mid-December. And then he's gone, right, Caleb?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Okay. It's hard for me not to believe that this is tampering in some shape or form, because I know, entered the transfer portal, but it's just common sense. You don't leave one job unless you've got another. I mean, that is just common sense. I believe Cameron Carr was probably tampered with by Baylor and a number of other schools, probably a half dozen schools or more. Caleb, that's where we are. And I certainly think it's unfair to the coaches, but Caleb, I don't understand any other way around it. And who is supposed to be the governing body here that's going to go after somebody in tampering? The NCAA has absolutely no power. I'm going after every kid I can get, and I'm tampering because I can do it with social media. I can do it through agents. And Caleb, I will never get caught. And if I do, there's no governing body.
Yeah, Cameron Carr, and let's be clear on what he's doing, Dave. He didn't just transfer to Baylor. He's walking on this year.
Okay, well, maybe he didn't have a job then.
Well, he had a scholarship at Tennessee.
Well, but he left Tennessee, entered the transfer portal, right?
Yeah, but I think Baylor maybe opened up some chat. Here's Tennessee played Baylor earlier in the year, and with the help of Cameron Carr, beat them pretty significantly. So they go and beat Baylor. Remember, Cameron Carr, Rick Barnes believed in him so heavily, Dave, that forced 3 Tennessee guards to hit the transfer portal this whole season. So they were building their future around Cameron Carr, like beyond after this year with Chaz Lanier and everybody like that. This was one of those 4-year guys that Rick Barnes fully believed in. And then just up in the middle of December, he leaves when Tennessee is so thin that he's going to see a lot of minutes, and they're undefeated and they're number 1. And then he goes and walks on.
They only went 7 deep against Auburn. He would have played significantly in that game.
Exactly. So a team you're seeing significant minutes for, that with a coach who wants to build around you, that's number 1 and undefeated in the country, you transfer out mid-season to enroll as a walk-on at a program that team beat? This has tampering written all over it to me. I think Baylor offered him enough money to say that you have enough. Basically, I think they offered him enough money to be a walk-on this year. I feel like that's what they did.
Okay. And so, it to me is pretty distasteful. I think he was probably tampered with by Baylor. And then I think at some point Baylor said, we'll give you some NIL money to cover that. You got to remember, Baylor's not cheap too. So what is the average tuition at Baylor? I'll look it up, but are there really walk-ons anymore? I mean, we talked to Jimmy Himes while you were gone, and he said part of the reason that Tennessee hasn't doled out more scholarships and brought in midterm players is that they were out of scholarships. But how are you out of scholarships? You can just throw NIL money a walk-on's way. Do you think Navy Schuler's really paying for anything? No. He's not paying for anything. Nobody that's having an impact on that team that is a walk-on is having an impact. By the way, about $55,000 a year in tuition. So my goodness, I mean, you're going to have to stroke him a pretty big check there. So that's your starting point if you're paying him to be a walk-on. Either Baylor didn't have a spot for him and is paying him to be a walk-on, or he left without a job, and that's not real bright.
Yeah, the message board has a point, too. I didn't think about this. So Bill Armstrong is a Baylor assistant coach. He was the head coach at Link Academy at Branson, Missouri, which is where Cameron Carr came out of for a while. So he was Cameron Carr's high school basketball head coach. That seems like the connection, doesn't it? More than anything else, where Bill Armstrong probably went to Bryce Drew and said, hey, we should go after this guy. He could make a huge impact for us long term. And
somebody had to talk him out of leaving Tennessee without a scholarship in hand. You don't just do that. You're not that stupid. I mean, surely to goodness. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's what, like, some people are trying to explain, like, oh, he left because he didn't like Rick Barnes asking him to play defense and hustle. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. You're not going to sit there and say, I'm getting all these minutes. I don't like being coached hard. One, if he didn't like playing defense, Rick Barnes wouldn't have played him as many minutes as he did, right? Because you and I both know, Dave. Yeah, Rick Barnes doesn't play you if you don't play defense. So people who are like, he didn't want to play defense, that's not true. He was obviously willing to play defense because Rick Barnes gave him a lot of minutes. This has tampering all over it. This has the Baylor assistant coach going to Bryce Drew saying, offer this kid a lot of money now because we could use him right now. And they go and offer him a lot of money. And he leaves midseason. That's what this screams to me.
I can't disagree with that. HoundDogs of Knoxville champions look good in orange. All members that sign up to be a member of our YouTube page, you will receive a Hound Dogs $20 gift certificate just for joining. I think it's about $5, so it's a pretty good deal. And also, you'll be eligible for joining that of our weekly prizes via Off the Hook Sports t-shirt or a Celebrate 98 book that I would love for you to give a read. Steve has one. Thank you, Steve. And I will remind you that we'll have the monthly drawing, which will be actually this week. I know it's not technically the end of the month, but that John Henderson autographed helmet. So right now, I think Steve is the only member. So Steve's just going to rake them all in until you guys join up. Joe Neubert Collision Center for nearly 50 years. Neubert Collision Center has been East Tennessee's best choice for quality repair work and fantastic customer service. Let's turn it to football for a second. Is Josh Heupel too squeaky clean? Should he be out there tampering? Because you can't get caught. I mean, you can't. There are places in the Western United States. I think it's Wyoming. Maybe I can get some help from the message board. But they don't have a speed limit. But you can't really go like stupid fast, like over 125. You can get pulled in. You get pulled over for something like that. I can't remember the state. But is it worth the ticket if you get to work on time because you were going 150 miles an hour? Is it worth possibly getting in trouble with an enforcement body that can't do anything if you pick up a 4-star cornerback? I think it is.
I mean, yeah, like, oh, you'll get in trouble with some enforcement body that might say, here's a secondary violation for a day. But at the end of the day, you got a 4-star cornerback that can shut down half the field and it'll help you win a national title. You'll be like, okay, I'll take that deal any day of the week. I think you should tamper. Now, here's why I don't think it's as obvious.
Tamper.
Well, here's why tampering with, and honestly, this is the truth with tampering in basketball too. But it's definitely true with football. We just talked about how Heupel and everybody are valuing chemistry and players staying together and kind of culture over just getting raw talent. He's putting a lot of emphasis on that. If you start tampering to bring in just random, like, big name guys mid-season, you know, just to say, hey, I know you, hey, Bob, I know you worked with us at cornerback all spring, all summer, and all fall, but we just got this other guy from USC who transferred to us mid-season, and we're going to start him over you. That kind of would just derail the whole culture talk, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think the culture talk's gotten to be overrated. You know, I was first on that. I think I was ahead of the curve, and you kind of poo-pooed a little bit. And now I'm wondering if it's a little overrated. So we think it's Montana, thanks to the message board, that there's no speed limit. Adam says, I thought Utah didn't have a limit. Oh, you're thinking of their wife limit.
Wait, what there is?
We're coming back. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln dealer. They perfected the buying process.
Well, Ted, looks like you're settling right into your new space.
Affirmative. Powered by the new Ford Lightning.
You know, that would be incredible. For camping, tailgating, the options are unlimited. Why don't you take a little power for yourself, buddy?
Beep boop beep bop.
Get into this new 2024 Ford F-150 Power Boost for only $53,300, or get 0% for 72 months on a Ford F-150 Lightning. Come see us today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike, or on.
All right, Caleb. So you were going to say?
I was going to say that, you say there's a place with no speed limit out west. Well, I think it was Idaho where a lot of Nazis who fled war crimes were given safe havens
Is that
in the
right?
Northwest. And
Idaho? Did you said Idaho?
Well, here's what I'm saying. We know that the Nazis did the Autobahn in Germany, where they put no speed limit on there, and
I thought
then
it was Argentina that they all went to.
No, but there were some in America that basically during the Cold War, the American government decided that some of these Nazis were smart on science, and we need them for some of the technology in the Cold War. So they're like, okay, we're going to give you a safe haven. Just kind of don't get in our way, and we'll let you go live in Idaho away from the rest of us. And no, but they did. As a matter of fact, I know I got a friend, funny enough.
You know a Nazi?
No. I don't know a Nazi. But I got a friend who she's Argentinian and her husband is German. I wonder how they met.
I don't know, but I will tell you this. They do have people like third generation from Nazi people where they only speak German in Argentina. I'll send you the documentary.
Oh, I know.
It's like just a little colony of German people in the middle of Argentina. How in the world did that happen?